We're going to be talking about knife sharpening. I have two different systems I'm going to be using. The number one is going to be the Work Sharp Precision Adjust Knife Sharpening Kit, which is also the Elite Upgrade Kit. And then second, we're going to have the Work Sharp Ken Onion Edition Electric Knife Sharpener. I'm also going to talk about why I like one over the other, why I will use certain knives with the electric sharpener, and why I will only use knives with the manual sharpeners. So please stay tuned. This is going to be video 1 with the manual. Video 2 will be with the electric. All right, so first I want to kind of show you the packaging a little bit. Right here in this box, the knife sharpener system comes with this base here included with one stone. It's got 3 different sides to it, but I have already actually taken it out of this box and put it in here. The reason is because this is the actual upgrade kit to where you get different stones along with it. And what's really nice, and I didn't expect that when it got here, is this case also serves as a place for this base system right here. So everything stacks in here really nice and clean. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that out. It's got a nice little strap button for it. This is gonna be your base. This is gonna be what holds everything together to sharpen your knives. Just snaps together real clean. This white line right here, you wanna make sure that's facing up when you start out, okay? And then you got some magnets. All that does is pushing, and you got grooves here as well that'll go right in between these. And all you do is just slide that in there and it holds it nice and firm, okay? And back to the case, the upgrade kit came with all these different grit stones, which I like this. Now, I will have 2 of the same, because this one right here with the 4, what do we have here? 4, 320, and 220 came with this system. And then the upgrade kit came with these 3 right here along with the case. What we're gonna do is go ahead, get this thing put together and start sharpening some knives. So starting out, I just wanna say that Work Sharp is not paying me to make this video at all. I am actually going about this on my own opinions. I am in no way, shape, or form a professional in knives or knife making, but I do like to keep my blades sharp, and I am very particular on how I do that. One thing that I've always done is use certain stones for keeping my knives sharp. Now, in an emergency, I have one of these in my hunting bag and my tackle bag as well. I don't prefer these at all. Again, these are only for an emergency. The reason I don't like using these, when you run your knife through here, you can literally watch a thing shave that blade completely away. It will get it sharp, but again, I prefer to stay away from them. That's why I've always just used stones. And that's why I like this system, because you are using a stone, but you are getting a much more precise angle that you need. So, number one, I read this manual. It is very detailed and to the point. So there's not a lot of extra literature there that pertain to what you're doing. If you're not familiar with the kind of edge you need or anything, it's in here for you. There's a general, there's outdoor knives, there's kitchen, there's pocket knives, and it gives you a range with 5-degree increments in between one. For example, kitchen knives, a Western style is 20 degrees, Eastern style is 15 degrees. Pay attention to this stuff in this manual because it's only going to help you. It tells you exactly how to work the machine, the different grits you use, stepping it down to get that nice fine shiny edge. And I just want to make sure that's been pointed out. But what we're going to do right now, I'm going to tell you why I have these individual knives set out. And real quick, in this manual here, it does talk about a burr on your knife. If you're not familiar with what a burr is, now I got this piece of aluminum here. I left the burr on it to give for a prime example. Now right here on this lip, okay, you can see what it is when this knife got cut, or when this piece of aluminum got cut, it left a burr on this side. And that burr is very sharp. I could cut something with that. So when you get into there and they're telling you to feel on the edge of the knife, if you could feel a burr, it's going to be the same thing as this. Now under a microscope, it's going to look chaotic. Now you'll be able to feel it though, so pay attention to that. All right, so let's get to it. So what I did is I went through the kitchen. I grabbed the most dull knives I had in the kitchen to use for an example. Now, and to get them sharpened also, because it's gonna make my wife extremely happy. But she keeps cutting on my a glass cutting board. So my favorite knives that I own as far as kitchen is concerned is the Wusthof. I don't have any of the other high-end brands. I have been checking out Benchmade's kitchen knives. Just kind of curious about how well they hold up. But right now, my Wusthof is by far my favorite. I will not shove this in an electric grinder. I will not use this on it either. I usually just use a honing stone or honing stick to get this thing nice and sharp. But it is pretty dull. I need to, actually, for starters, I'll show you exactly how dull it is. Got this nice little, and this is pretty thick paper. This is not thin paper. So it won't even begin to cut it. And again, that's from cutting and chopping on a glass cutting board. If you can use wood or actual cutting board material, do that. But let's not get off track, because I can do that very easy. Now with this system here, what's really nice, so for example, right here in the manual, this is a kitchen knife. And it's got it right in here, kitchen. Now you need to figure out which style you have. Do you have a Western style or an Eastern style? Because one is 20 degrees, one is 15 degrees. Now this Wusthof is what they're going to consider a Western style. So that's going to be a 20-degree angle on your edge here, okay? So very simple setup. I'm going to go ahead and set this right here. You got a nice zoom in of that? See the numbers clear? Okay. So you can see right here, it starts at 30, 25, 20, and 15. I need to take that down to 20 degrees. Make sure I got that right. Right there, 20 degrees. And what that's gonna do is give me the angle I need when I put this stone on here and start to sharpen. So this system here, there's a little knob, I'll show you. Right here, all you gotta do is unscrew this knob, and what that does is it opens this mouth. And that's where your knife is gonna sit. You'll see there's a V groove here, and that V groove is where the spline of your knife is actually gonna sit down in. So when I go to put this thing in here, I'm gonna eyeball center it, set it down in that groove, just like that, just like a cradle, okay? Then I'm gonna hold this right here. Let me make sure I'm centered, okay? And while I'm pinching and holding this, I'm gonna turn this knob down here and get it nice and tight. Don't over tighten it. There's no reason. It's got a rubber grip in there, so it ain't gonna go anywhere. And then all you gotta do with this white line, you want this white line up, and I'll show you why here in just a second. I thought it was pretty neat when I was going through the manual and seeing this. It's a very handy feature to have, especially using pocket knives. But on the back of it, there's like it's like a little button almost. You just push it straight in, and when you push it straight in like that, what's gonna happen, so apologies, starting out, I had the handle facing the wrong way in the beginning. I am used to having this turned towards me to sharpen a knife, so everything's a little backwards. So again, I have the blade eyeball centered in here the best I can. If it still looks a little funny, just loosen it up, tighten it back down, get it where you need it, and all should be good. Now with this white line up, the reason that's like that, it's an indication so for when you're getting ready to turn the knife. Now because this is a longer knife this way, when I go to turn it, it's gonna wanna hit the table. So all I'm gonna do is push this button back here and it releases it, and then you can just give it a turn when you need to sharpen the other side and let go. Same thing, you need to go back around, tilt this system back, and then go to town on it. Now, what I'm gonna do is start out the exact way the manual says to. Now in here, there is a chart, okay, that gives you the steps of grit you wanna use while sharpening your knife, okay? And this right here says to use the 220 grit first. That's gonna be on this system here, and it has the writing on it very clear. It says 220. So what you're gonna do is rotate this thing up, and it will lock into place, just like this, okay? Then you're gonna take this little shaft there, and right under here, there's a magnet that's gonna pull it right up in there, just like that. Now, these little rubber stops, there's two at the top, and then there's one at the bottom. What you want to do, me personally, what I was doing when I was messing with it, is I started here and I pulled it all the way down to make sure I had plenty of length and movement here, okay? And when I go up, right now, I'm going past the blade, okay? So that's telling me that I need to move this rubber stop down some, because I don't want to go past the blade with it, okay? Let's see what we got. Come back up. Still not quite there yet. Come down more. All right, so I still have all of the stone on the edge of that blade right here. And then when I come over here, I want the same result. Not quite there. So just a little bit more. Now that looks good to me. Now while I'm down, same thing. The stone is covering the entire blade. Now in the manual, what it says to do is to move this system up and down as you move along. And I'm starting out with that 220 grit to make this happen, okay? What I'm gonna do is get a better angle on this so you can see. Real quick before I get started, this heavy duty hand surface and tool wipes from Scrub Nuts, they're pretty good. And I left this knife pretty dirty so that you can see why, okay? This paper towel has a nice little grit and cleaning action to it. So you can take your knife and scrub every bit of that filth on there off. Where I'm going with this is before you put your knives in this system, make sure you have your blades nice and clean. Don't compromise the stones. You don't want anything on them getting in the way of those stones or clogging them up either. But I can go over on how to clean those stones as well. So I'm gonna go here, make sure my knife is good and clean across that edge. And now we'll get to that better camera angle. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and work on getting this knife sharp, starting with the 220 grit. Now when I start on this stone, I want the corner of this knife here to start around the center of this stone. And when I end, I want it to end around the center of this stone. So from my understanding in the manual, what you do, put that on there and you're just gonna, nice even motions all the way across the blade, okay? Make sure you're getting every inch of it. Now what I'm looking for is the burr that'll start to form on the other side. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the camera now so that you don't have to sit here and watch me do this over and over. So if you remember earlier when I tried to cut this piece of paper, it wouldn't cut at all. I've actually been grinding on this for quite a while now, but I'm just now getting to where I can start feeling that burr going across the blade. So I'm gonna give it a little bit more and then we'll come back to it. So I finally got one side whittled down to where I wanted it at, and I'm gonna show you the difference in what that looks like because this thing was a lot more dull than what I thought it was. But real quick, if you don't understand fully on burr still, on what they mean by a burr on the other side of it, here's a good way to tell. This is a microfiber rag. What I do, okay, and you'll be able to hear this. I hope the audio picks it up. So this is the side that I done worked on, okay? I can take it, smoothly run it across the edge of that blade. Okay, it's a nice smooth transition. Now I want you to see if you can hear this. That dragging sound, that's that burr on the back side of this that I'm talking about. I can feel it with my fingertips too. But if you're still not familiar, you can hear that dragging across those burrs when up here, it's still nice and smooth. So what I want to show you though is right here. You got a good close up of this? Can you see that shiny edge right there and the profile of that edge? Now watch what happens when I turn this over. that profile of that edge isn't there. The reason being is because I haven't worked this side yet. So right here is after the results of using that 220 to get that profile back, to get into the beginning stages of sharpening. Right here is a side I have not used yet, so it does not have that profile. This is when things are really going to start to take form. So now that I got this side worked the way I want it, I have my burr. It's exactly what we're looking for. I'm going to push this button in the back, tilt this system back, rotate the blade, so that now I can begin this process all over again and get that side exactly where I want it. Now I'm not using real heavy pressure here, just kind of the weight of the stone, maybe just a tad bit of pressure, but I want to make sure I'm going across this blade nice and smooth. I don't want to get hung up anywhere. I just want nice smooth transitions all the way across the blade. All right, now that I got both sides exactly where I want them, again, just going off of that burr on the other side of the blade is what we're going off of. And it's got a nice burr all the way across. So again, just to kick back on it, because it is very important that you do follow this process. Make sure you're using nice even strokes up and down this blade as you're going. Don't stroke here and then over here, and try not to do swirls as you're going. Now naturally, when I'm sharpening a knife with a stone, those swirls, I do that a lot. I just didn't see anything in the manual as far as using the swirl motion while sharpening the knife here, so that's why I'm just saying it's not specific, so maybe try to avoid that for warranty purposes. But that was just the 220 grit, trying to get that blade profile back. So now what I'm going to do is pull this out of here, and I want to see if we can cut anything yet. So this is that same piece of paper. Let's see if we got anything. That's a good start. Earlier I wouldn't cut this at all. So yeah, that's a good start. We're going to take this thing all the way down to the leather. We're going to go step by step and see how this thing turns out. So now we're going to move on to the next step. The burr is on the bottom side. What we want to do is flip the blade over, and we're going to work off of that burr. Okay. So again, push that button, rotate this thing around. The next step here is the 320 grit. So what you got to do, take this thing, right now we're on the 220. We're just going to rotate it over, lock it into position with 320. You see that there? And that's it. You're going to keep your stops the same and just start working it just as normal. But remember, you want that burr on the top now. Put that on in here. Rotate this over. I'm going to start on this side. Typically I would have this facing me so that I could see everything going on, but for camera purposes I'm just trying to do it in your all's direction. So now that was the 320 grit on one side. Have a nice burr all the way across up to the tip. Again, hitting that button, tilting this back, rotating it over, locks right in place. Repeating the same steps until I get that burr there again, then we'll switch to another grit. All right, I went ahead and kept the camera off to get this blade sharpened to where it should be. Before we moved on, what we have next is the 600, 800, and ceramic and leather. So on that right there, this one is going to have the 600 and the 800 along with the ceramic side on it. So we'll get to the 600, then I'll do the 800, and then I'll come back and turn the camera on for the ceramic. So now, as you notice, I have put on a cut resistant glove. They say a lot of gloves are cut resistant, but I haven't actually found one that is cut resistant, and I've spent some pretty good money on some gloves for that reason. But if you know of a good brand that you could recommend, let me know, because I would definitely love to try them out. But now we're going to move on to the ceramic. Okay, now the ceramic is not going to work in the same way that the sharpening technique is. The only difference is, instead of just continually going until you receive a burr, what you're trying to do is now remove any burr. This is really going to hone in what you're doing. So that ceramic, instead of just continually going over and over and over, you're gonna, it says the manual, 8 to 10 times using the same motion up and down, but only 8 to 10 times per side. So I've got it set on the ceramic. I'm gonna get started here. We can leave this camera on for this one. This one's not gonna take as long. So I'm gonna start from here and end down here. Anytime I sharpen a knife, I always try to end at the tip of that blade. So again, safety. And we're just gonna back and forth. It says 8 to 10 times. I've already lost count, so I'm just gonna start over and do this one more time. I'm actually gonna turn the base as I do this. Okay. Man, that's got a nice edge on it. Okay, so sorry, I'm trying to adore my work. Push that button, rotate this blade back over, and repeat the steps again. I can get this in here. If there was one thing I would change on this system is the base. I do like that you have to hold it and your hands are out of the way of the blade, except this one. But personally, I'll probably try to figure out a way, and this is probably just me being a little picky, but I'll probably try to figure out a way to where I can actually mount it to this table. So when I'm out here sharpening, I don't have to hold this here, but still be able to rotate it in any position that I want to. So again, I'm gonna start here at the, I don't know, your finger guard, and then move forward to the tip. But I am rotating the base by myself. It's just helping me out because of the position I'm in. Okay, and I'm gonna start over. I don't know if you've ever used ceramic before. Sorry about that, my garage door decided to come open on us. But I don't know if you've ever used ceramic before, but this will really put a nice honing on that blade and bring it shine out, and you'll really be able to see the detail and the profile of that edge. This thing is super sharp right now. I mean, it is crazy how sharp it is. I'm really liking it. It's impressive. But I'm gonna move on to the leather strap. So now we're moving on to the leather strap here. And this is a piece of leather. Now, according to the manual, what you are supposed to do, start here at the hand or the thumb guard or finger guard area, and you're going to actually slide this down in one stroke as you're going across the blade, 8 to 10 times each side, okay? And one motion like this. You're gonna start up here and then work your way down to the tip of that blade. So I went ahead and got my stoppers adjusted for the length of the blade so that I'm good all the way across the blade. But I am gonna turn this around. Well, I'll try to do it this way. See what I got. So again, we're starting here at the finger guard, and we're going to push this down as we're going across the blade. Okay, I'm not doing too good at this angle. I'm gonna have to turn this around so I can see what I'm doing. All right. This knife's pretty long, so I'm having to adjust as I go. In the end, I should be getting the same results, as long as I track back into the path I stopped at. Okay. Yeah, that blade's really shining now. That edge has got a mirror finish on it. Okay, get that out of the way. Now I'm going to turn this blade and do the other side. I'll do the same way. And I think that should do it. We'll go ahead and get this out of here. One thing I want to point out is every time I switched grits on the stones, I was taking my cloth here, the Scrub Nuts hand cleaner, and wiping that blade off, making sure I got rid of any and all debris. Wow, that's nice. Then take your rag. Obviously don't take your rag and rub it up against the blade right there because it's going to cut it. Just unscrew this here, pop that off. All I'm going to do here is just clean everything up real good. All right, can you get I want to see that profile there, that edge. Can you see that? And I'm going to turn the knife around and do the same thing. See it? All right, so go ahead and zoom back out. I'm going to set this down. I'm going to get us a fresh piece of paper here. Remember in the beginning, this thing wouldn't even cut the paper at all, so it was in bad shape. So it took me a lot longer than expected. So that first 220 grit stage, I worked on it quite a while to get that profile of the blade back down. Okay, so here we go. That was clean with no effort at all. Man, I wonder if I could take a cotton ball and just right through it. Got my cameraman back here again. He's pretty impressed too. I can't wait to get him on it and let him sharpen his knives. This is awesome. Just keeps going. Look at that. Cutting the tiniest little pieces off too. All right, and to keep it nice and sharp while it's still in the kitchen drawer, I keep these things, put it right back in there. And then maybe one day I'll pretend that the glass cutting board had broke and get that thing out of the house. No, my wife is actually probably gonna hit me in the head when she sees this video. But again, so for example, this knife here took quite a while, mainly because it had absolutely no edge on it. It was the dullest knife in the kitchen and the most used knife in the kitchen. Now we do have other ones that aren't as bad. So I'm not gonna need to start at 220 and work that thing down. So what I'll probably wind up doing is getting where's it at? The one with the ceramic. Yeah, okay, so there's one particular here that has a 320 to a 600, then ceramic. So this one, I'll probably just do this in 3 steps, call it a day. Now when I get to my fillet knife here, this thing is filthy. Haven't had it out since last season. Now a lot of people don't like using stones if a blade has paint on it, but I don't ever recommend taking sandpaper and removing any material off a blade. If you can, get some paint stripper if you have to, whatever the case may be. But the little bit amount of paint that you're actually putting in that stone is not that big of a deal. You can get an eraser or something, to get into that stone, and it will wash out all them pores, anything that's in there. And that's gonna work on these as well. So it's the same idea across the board. But I hope you all did enjoy. Here in just a minute, I'm gonna put one of my Benchmade pocket knives in there. My son has one as well. I'm gonna let him go to town on it so he can learn to use this too, because he needs to learn how to do this stuff as well. Thank you all for watching this. Hope you did enjoy this. I encourage you, if you're one of those who likes using hand stones to sharpen your knives, try this out at least. Go to a show, go to somewhere where they have one on display where you can actually use it and get hands-on. I'm overly impressed with it. This is going to be my new go-to. I'm probably going to, store these away somewhere. And if I ever get them back out, but this is just going to be it for me. Again, thank you for watching. Again, that is Work Sharp Sharpeners. Check them out on Instagram. Check them out on Facebook, Google, website, however you have to locate them. Thanks, guys. All right, so I'm behind the camera now. Got my son in front of the camera. He's got his Superman swirl going on with his hair there. We got 3 Benchmade pocket knives. He's going to figure out which one's the dullest, and he's going to take a stab at sharpening this knife just like I did the kitchen knife. Yeah, pull it to the side. It's really thick paper, or that cardboard where you're trying to pull it at. Okay. Wow, that's mine. That's pretty dull, ain't it? Try another one, see what it does. No, another knife. You're gonna need that paper.
I've got sandpaper.
Okay, all right, try that again. Have you ever used a knife sharpener?
Nope.
So this is gonna be your first time. All right, good. That one's really good and sharp. Go ahead and close that one up. So we know that's a good sharp knife. The blue one's okay. Well, it could use sharpening, but that green one, that one's mine. Let's go ahead and throw that one in there. That's the dullest. I use that one a lot. So number one, what we need to do. Tell them what you're doing.
So we gotta loosen this up so that we can open and put the spine of the knife in here.
Yep.
Then eyeball measure to the middle of the blade.
Okay.
We gotta tighten it back up. Not too tight. And make sure this white line is facing the top. Where's this button?
Yeah, the button's a little stiff. There you go. Alright, so looking here at this manual, let me get it to the page it's supposed to be on. And I want you to tell me which knife angle you think it should be at. Let me actually look at it. Okay. Or yeah, which angle that knife should be sitting at.
So for this knife, this is a pocket knife that has probably got some heavy use, and so it should have a 25-degree angle.
It should. That should be a light use pocket knife.
Lightning?
Yes, but I use it heavily. So let's go ahead and go with light use, so that way I can try to force myself not to use it as a tool that I pull out of my Craftsman toolbox.
And so a light use is a 20-degree angle.
And what degree are you on right now?
20 degrees.
All right.
And so we can start off with a 600 for the grit on this sharpener.
Okay, that looks good there. Now run it all the way up to make sure the bottom.
And then the bottom is like that too.
Okay, what about that tip of the blade? Is it also the same? No, pull it all the way up at the tip. All the way till it stops. There you go. Yep, so we're good. We're in the stone zone. I'll call it the stone zone.
And now
It's not too bad, huh?
no.
Fairly simple.
Yeah.
And you've never sharpened a knife before, right?
Nope.
All
never.
right, we're gonna see what you can do. And just so everybody knows, I am behind the camera and I have not helped him do this. He just sat here and recorded and watched what I was doing. Go ahead and check it again, see if you got a burr yet.
Nothing yet.
So, okay, so I think what you're doing, I'm watching your finger. The only reason I'm bringing this up is your fingertips. So when you feel for that burr, you're going underneath the blade, then towards it, just like this, okay?
Okay.
And you should feel like the slightest little lip when that burr starts to take over. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna turn this camera off so nobody has to sit here and just watch you file away forever. So we'll be right back. So I thought we would safely be able to go through, use a 600 and then the 800, but we're gonna start at 220. Shouldn't take long for it to get to the burr. So we're just gonna kind of reset things to get us where we wanna be. All right, go ahead and feel for that burr again. And you can feel it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, give it just probably go over the blade 2 more times. Let's make it burr a little more. I want you to end at the tip of the blade.
And then go back down.
No, just go over it one more time, but end at the tip. All right, check out burr.
Yep.
See? Okay, yep, got you a nice burr all the way across. Go ahead and remove this. Now this is a pocket knife, so it's not gonna be as long as that kitchen knife. So go ahead and push this button and rotate it. Oh, we started the handle off on the wrong side. Yeah. That's my fault. So go ahead and leave it on that 320 grit. This one isn't taking as long with that 320.
It's on 220.
Or 220, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna turn this camera off so we don't have to sit there and watch this. All right, so now we're gonna switch from 220 to what's the next one?
320.
320. All right, go ahead. If you have to, face that thing towards you so you can get a better
It's
view.
actually easier to...
It's easier for you like that? No, that's fine. All right, check it out. See if you can get that burr.
Yep.
All right, go ahead and flip the blade around. There we go. Switch the blade position while the camera was off. We'll come back again. All right, so now we're switching to the ceramic here. And then I'm not gonna put the leather on this one. I'm just gonna use the ceramic for honing, or have him use the ceramic for honing, and then go from there. There you go. And he's been doing all this by himself. We're probably, I don't know, what, 5 minutes into it maybe? Maybe 10, I don't know. I've been sitting here staring and losing track of time. Now what you're looking for now is that burr to be gone.
So a little bit once. Go over it one more time.
You'll have to flip it. Yeah, because that burr is on the other side of the blade, so.
No burr.
Right. But that burr was on the other side of the blade and you
Yeah.
flipped it, so you want to go ahead and do that again. No, leave it where it's at. Because now you're going to eliminate the burr on that side. I think you're good.
Yep, we're good.
All right. So go ahead and take that out. Grab a piece of paper and see what it does this time. Earlier it wouldn't even cut, would it?
No, just barely.
that rubber on there gets a real good bite. So there you go. Well, number one, before you get started, grab that rag. Use the wet. Yeah, use that one.
Yeah, clean it.
All right, I'm gonna show you something on cutting paper here.
You gonna do it at more of an angle?
No, it's okay. You ain't never done it before, so you don't know. So I notice you're kind of trying to really grip that paper. You don't have to do that. Get a piece here out. And all I'm gonna do is hold it out here with these two fingers. And you're gonna take your knife, set it right on top. I'm gonna start about the end, and then work your way down. See, it's cutting right through it just like butter. Okay? So now I want you to try that too. There you go. Now don't force it, just let it glide. Okay. When you force it, it just wants to tear the paper. There you go, nice. Very nice, all the way to the tip too. All right, let's see if we can get a good close-up of the profile on that blade. See if I can get zoomed in here. Let's see. Stop moving, stop moving. There we go, okay. Now rotate the blade. You could probably use a little more honing, clean it up a little bit, but regardless, you did a really good job on that. For your first time sharpening a knife, yeah, good job. So what did you think? Was it complicated to use?
No, that was really easy to use.
Yeah? Would you do it again?
Yeah.
We can get you one of these take home and you can start knocking on the neighbor's door and charging them $5 a knife to resharpen them.
I'd be good with that.
You'd be good with that? Oh, that's awesome. All right, say bye to everybody and we'll see them on the next video.
Bye.
Bye what?
See you on the next video.
There we go.